Hey everybody, and welcome to this quick lesson. I want to talk to you about writing your legal briefs for your class this semester. As you know, you've got 3 legal briefs due with the opportunity for a 4th, and I'll talk about that towards the end. But I want to talk to you about writing the legal briefs and give you some tips and show you how to do it. I think that this will help you a great deal. Legal briefs are a great opportunity to, 1, raise your grade, and 2, write about something that's interesting to you, something that you care about. With these legal briefs, I leave you a lot of leeway about what to write on. You can choose any legal dispute, any legal issue in the history of the world. So I've had some students write about Cain and Abel. I've had students write about recently Joseph Smith and some of the legal issues that he faced. All of that is available to you, and I want to encourage you to just find something that you want to write about. Again, last semester I had a student whose parents were in the middle of a legal dispute with their business, and he analyzed that, and I thought that was great, a great application of the skills that he was learning about during the semester. So I want to encourage you to do that. Now, some of you still are like, I have no idea what to write about. So that's why I'm making this video. It's for you. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here real quick. And we can pull up, go back into the iLearn course here, and you can see one of the first blocks here is for writing legal briefs. Let's just click into the instructions real quick because this will give you an overview of what I'm looking for. When you do this, like I said, you're going to find a legal dispute, any case. It doesn't have to be a published opinion. Obviously, it can be just any legal dispute. And we're going to call that the case. Once you have that, you are going to follow these 5 steps right here. Your first page, typically it's about a page, are the case facts. This is the background information. Once you've given that background, then you can move into what we call the IRAC method, and that's this acronym for issue, rule, application, and conclusion. The issue, obviously, like what legal issue is at play in this case. Rule, what does the law say? What is the law about? What does the law say about this dispute? And then the application section. This is going to be your most important section. So I'll talk about this in more depth later. And then finally, your conclusion. What should happen? I want you to take a stand. Who should win? And that can be pretty fun. Again, no page set. No set page requirements, although I do think on average to really analyze something, you're looking at least 2 pages. And you'll have 3 of these. Extra credit I'll come back to at the end of this video. So let's talk about this a little bit. All right, just making some notes for myself here. If you don't know what to write about, I'm going to help you out. So I put together this Twitter page. It's just twitter.com/profhales. And in it, about every day, I find interesting cases that are going on right now that are being written about. And I just retweet them. And this is a great repository for many, many, many legal issues that you could brief. All right, as you see up here, maybe you can see this. I have 16, oh, it disappeared, but I have 1,649 tweets. And all of these are different things that most of them you could write a brief about. So I scrolled down. This is one that I just retweeted earlier this month in April. And I think it's timely given that right now it's still April of 2020 when I'm making this, and we're dealing with the coronavirus lockdown. I'm obviously teaching this class through Zoom, and so This is a story from the ABA, which is the American Bar Association, about people that are coughing on things in stores. You've probably seen this. There's sickos that'll like open up ice cream, lick it, and put it back. Other people are coughing on produce. This case right here, let's just open this up. All right, cops charge people for coughing on grocery store shelves, police officers during the pandemic. All right, so let's read a little bit about this. People accused of intentionally coughing on grocery store shelves and police officers are facing criminal charges, as is one man accused of licking grocery containers. What? Police in Missouri say the man who licked the containers, Cody Lee Pfister, also licked a deodorant and the shelf itself. Deodorant, all right, like don't lick deodorant. Who's scared of coronavirus, said Pfister in a video of his antics that he shared on social media. Oh, all right. So some people are dumb, but they get away with it because they don't post things on social media. Let that be a lesson to you if you do dumb things. Now, first lesson is don't do dumb things. Let's just leave it at that. Pfister was charged with the felony of making a terrorist threat in the second degree. Pfister's lawyers call his clients idiotic. That's funny. So his lawyer's calling his client an idiot, which he is. I'm sure he's making the point like, look, my client's an idiot, but he's not a felon. All right. Interesting legal tactic there. All right. So that honestly, like, that's enough for us to get started right now. Now, do you have enough to write a full page about the background of this whole issue? Probably not. But here you've got a link to a Washington Post article that will give further detail about Mr. Pfister and his antics. In the background, you will want to give background about the pandemic, about coronavirus, COVID-19, how businesses are shutting down, give some stories about essential businesses and why they're still open, hence grocery stores, and why there's a risk of spreading the virus in a place like a grocery store, which has to be open so that people can eat, and yet this guy's adding additional danger to everybody by licking things, whatever else. All right, your background can talk about other people that are doing this as well. Your background should give me a lot of information about what's going on with this case and everything that I need to know to understand your legal brief. Okay, so now we've got that. Now I think you could, with all of that, with those other tips, I think you could write your background page. Now we need to get into the Iraq method. Okay, so the issue, of course, for this case is going to be whether or not somebody licking products at a grocery store would constitute how did they describe this? A terrorist threat in the second degree. All right, that's it. That's the question. The issue is always like the question. And you can usually start it off with something like whether the defendant is guilty of terrorist threats as a result of his actions, right? I think that's a good way to post your issue. All right, so we've already done the background information. We've already done the issue. We're like flying through this brief, if you can't tell. But now we get to the R, the rule. And the rule is, what does the law say about this specific issue? So I'm going to need to do some searching here. So I'm going to open up Google. And remember, this happened in Missouri. So I'm going to type in Missouri. Let's see, terrorist threat, and it was second degree. Terrorist threat, second degree, Missouri. Let's just grab that one. All right, and here I can jump into this website, Justia, that keeps track of every state's law. And here I'm gonna, and look, I found it. This is it. This is the rule. A person commits, let me make this bigger for you. A person commits the offense of making a terrorist threat in the second degree if he or she recklessly disregards the risk of causing the evacuation, quarantine, or closure of any portion of a building. Oh, that sounds relevant. Inhabitable structure, place of assembly, or facility of transportation, and knowingly communicates an express implied threat to cause an incident, or communicates a false report of an incident, or causes a false belief of fear. Interesting, right? So that's all good. The offense of making a terrorist threat in the second degree is a Class C felony, and no offense is committed under this section by a person acting in good faith with the purpose to prevent harm. Oh, so we're going to have to analyze those things as well. Now for the rule section, let me switch some things around here. I'm going to do a new share of a whiteboard here. So there we go. Because now you can kind of start writing your paper. So again, let's kind of go through these different things here. All right, so this is the IRAC. Of course, before this, you've got the case facts, but the issue, we took care of that already. The rule is the Missouri law, second degree terrorist threat. You are just gonna copy and paste what we just read about on that justia.com website. And you're gonna put rule, and then you're gonna write out that law. Again, copy and paste it, throw it in there, you're good to go. All right, so issues done, rules done. Application, I can't even tell you. This is where you are gonna make your points. Like this is where you get an A on this assignment. So the application. I'm writing with my finger. I forgot my iPad pen. But here, let me show you how to do a true application of this one. So if I jump back to the law here, here we go. All right, I'm gonna have a couple different paragraphs in the application section. Why? Because there's a couple different elements of the terrorist threat law in Missouri. So let's take this first part. A person commits the offense of making a terrorist threat in the second degree if he or she recklessly disregards the risk. Okay, so I'm gonna start right there. So under my application section, this is where I am going to come across an application, and I am going to, here we go. So I'm going to put application. All right, this little sign, that kind of stands for paragraph. So paragraph 1 is going to be about this. Reckless, I'm running out of room. Reckless disregard. That says reckless disregard, by the way. Did Mr. Pfister, did he show reckless disregard to the risks of causing an evacuation? Right? That's paragraph 1. Why? How do I know that? Well, because it's the first element of the rule, of the law. Right? So I'm going to write a paragraph about that. Now, some students, this is where they mess up. They say, Mr. Pfister clearly exhibited reckless disregard because he licked deodorant. And that's it. Right? That's not an analysis. That's weak. I don't want to see anything like that. I want you in that paragraph to dig into what is disregard, what does reckless disregard mean? How did he show reckless disregard? When he was randomly licking things in the store, is that reckless? And you can use examples of what's reckless, what he could have done to be less reckless. Like, this is where you get your points, because you are getting into the application to the true analysis of the law here. All right, prove to me if you are saying that it was reckless. Prove to me that it was reckless, and then make sure that you prove to me that it recklessly disregards the risk of causing the evacuation or closure. All right, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself here, but like paragraph 1 could be about the reckless disregard. Paragraph 2 could be about the rest of that sentence. Causing the evacuation, quarantine, or closure of any portion of a building. Does him licking deodorant cause the closure of a portion of the grocery store? Why and why not? And get into why, in the current circumstances with COVID-19, why the store would have to close a portion of the building. That's important. And this is where you can get into the analysis of, did they really have to? Or are they overreacting by doing that? What about the lady that coughed on the produce aisle at Walmart, and Walmart had to throw away $30,000 worth of produce because they weren't exactly sure where she coughed? Is that causing the closure of a building? All right, I like this. This is fun for me. That's why I teach business law. Okay, so that's one element, but then we need to go back here to, we need to start making other paragraphs. So paragraph 2 might be this other sub-element, because it says, and knowingly, so now we've got this, knowingly, communicates an express or implied threat to cause an incident or condition involving danger to life. Oh, we have so much right here we could talk about. Was his licking deodorant and posting it to social media, does that meet this element of communicating an express or implied threat to cause an incident or a condition involving danger to life? You see how much we have to pick apart right here. How did he communicate? Well, you're going to write maybe a paragraph about how he communicated it through social media, shot that out to all of his friends, hoped that they would laugh and share it with others. Is that communication? Sounds like it to me. But don't just say he clearly communicated this when he put it on Facebook. Nope. Tell me how he communicated it and why you can gather from his actions his intent. Because remember, he has to do this knowingly. So I want you to dig in and show me that it was knowing and that it was communicated. Don't just say it was knowingly and communicated. Show me why. Get into the details of how that happened. Maybe write a paragraph on each of those. And then an express or implied threat to cause an incident or condition involving danger of life. Now, you're going to have to do a whole paragraph about how coronavirus is a danger to life. And that's, I mean, this is stuff that we're figuring out right now, how dangerous it truly is. And this gives you some leeway to make an interesting argument right there. Anyway, so again, paragraph 3 here might be the idea of communication. That says communication. And then, and then paragraph 4 might be about the danger to life. Danger to life. You can't even read this anymore. But you see what I'm saying. The application is it. This is the whole purpose of the whole legal brief. You are tying in the case facts to the rule. Let me say that again. The application, all you're doing is tying in and applying the case facts to the law. That's it. And this is where you make your case. You make your points, you make your case, or you lose your case, or you lose points. Right? The conclusion, that's simple. At the end, I want you to just take a stand. This is one sentence that says, as a result of the following, Mr. Pfister should or shouldn't be convicted of making a terrorist threat in the 2nd degree. And you're done. That's it. Do that 3 times and you're going to be done with your legal brief for this semester, and you can have a lot of fun with this. Again, reach out to me, the tutor, Brandon, if you have any questions about these. Your first one is due in week 4, and then they're spread out through the rest of the semester. Now, let's jump back into iLearn, because you can see right here, if you look at the syllabus, I allow you to to write an extra legal brief. This is due in week 12. It's a little bit sinister, to be honest here. And if you read the syllabus, you understand why. When I first started teaching, I got lots of requests to like artificially just give people more points. I don't want to do that. I want you to earn those points. So I came up with this plan. If you think you would like to get a bump up in your grade at the end of the semester, then you're going to write one extra legal brief and you're going to turn it in week 12. Now this is sinister, and some of you have figured this out. It's sinister because in week 12, you're not going to know if you're going to need it or not. Let me explain. At the end of the semester, after you've done your final exam and your appeal for the final exam, at that point, I'll grade everything. And you will look at your grade the day of graduation or the day before graduation, which is the last day of the semester. And I'll have it done for you by then. And if you are within 1 point of the next highest grade, you're going to be very happy that you wrote that extra credit legal brief. All right, so let's say you're at that 89.2%. You're so close to an A-, but you're a B+. Well, if you wrote a legal brief, then you're going to email me and you're going to say, Brother Hales, guess what? I did it. I wrote an extra credit legal brief. Go ahead and grade it. And I will go in, and as long as your legal brief isn't garbage, like not a super high standard, but it can't suck, then I will give you 10 points for that extra credit legal brief, which is worth 1% of the grade. That will bump you up from an 89.2 or whatever I said to a 90.2. And congratulations, now you have an A-. If you did not turn in an extra credit legal brief and you email me asking me to arbitrarily give you extra points, I will drop your grade. Just kidding, I'm not going to drop your grade. I'm just going to say no, because you had the opportunity to write an extra credit legal brief and you didn't. Now, for some of you, this isn't going to make any difference at all. You're gonna finish. You may have done the extra credit legal brief, but you have an 88% in the class. Well, the extra credit legal brief is only worth 10 points or 1% of your grade. So sorry, you did it for no reason. It's going to bump up your grade to also a B+, an 89%. And so I'm not even going to bother with it. Now you see why it's, like I said, it's a little sinister, because during week 12, you're just simply not going to know if it's going to work or not. But the purpose is it's a safety net. If there's a chance that this could help you, I want it to help you. And so that's the whole point behind this. And usually I'd say I have a good third of the class, half of the class to a third of the class that writes an extra credit legal brief. And it helps about, it should statistically only help about a third of them, but it usually helps closer to about half, usually because the ones that do it know that they're at risk for needing something like this. And as a result, they do it, and it ends up helping them. Instead of getting a B+, they get an A- in the class, or instead of an A-, like maybe they were at a 92.5% at the end of the class. Well, because they did their extra credit brief, it's going to knock them up into 93s, and then they get an A in the class. So definitely do this. There's a good chance that it could help you. The legal briefs are open now, meaning you could write all of your legal briefs this week 1 of the semester, and just get it over with. That's fine. I support you if that's what you decide to do. But if you're like most students, you're going to wait until the day before it's due. I've learned I can't stop you from doing that. So again, good luck with these, and feel free to reach out if you have any questions about it.